Okay, here is another quick show setup video. And I've got a typical mix. I got a couple vocals, a piano, guitar, a bass, a kick, a snare, etc., etc. Typical small band using up all 12 of the channels. I'm going to set up some view and mute groups. And I'm going to set up some subgroups. If you look at this right now, you're seeing everything. I'm going to assign some subs. I'm going to rename some things. Sub 1 I'm going to rename to vocal sub. And sub 2, we'll call it drums sub. And I'll call this one instrument sub. Something like that. And then back here, vocal 1, I'm going to assign a subgroup. It's going to be subgroup 1, where I had vocals. Do the same thing here with vocal 2. Wrong thing. Here we go. I want to assign a subgroup. All right, then the instruments were assigned to subgroup 3. The bass. And then the drums we had in subgroup 2. So let's get those all signed. That's a lot of assigning. There we are. So I've got my subgroups assigned. I am going to set up, let's do the view groups first. And that's done over here in the meters thing and views. And I want the vocals, the piano, the guitar, pretty much the entire mix, the 12 channels. I like to have my effects in there. These are the effects that I use. And probably the player, because I will be accessing the player. There's view 1. Okay, view 2. I'm going to put the subgroups. There we are. All right, there's 2 views. So if I come here to my view groups, if I go to view 1, basically I have the stuff that, everything I would need to mix the show that night. And you could make even less here if you wanted to. There would be my subgroups. I would probably be running these all around Unity Gain. And let's go to the mute groups. Okay, I'm going to set up mute 1, which is going to mute everything. All my channels. Everything except the player. The auxes, well, for sub 1, I'm going to mute everything. Everything except the player. So when I select mute group 1, the only thing that's playing is the music player. Mute 2 is going to be a little different. Mute 2, I'm just going to mute the subgroups. That way, players can still hear their instruments through their in-ears and monitors while the front is muted. Okay, now if I go to my mute groups, mute 1 is going to mute everything except the player. So while guys are plugging in their instruments and setting up their amps and so forth, I can have music playing, but I'm not going to get any pops when they plug stuff in and unplug stuff and so forth. When everything is all plugged in, I can switch to mute group 2, okay, which will still keep all the instruments and everything muted out front, but they'll be able to hear their instruments and so forth in their in-ears. So that's the group use for that. And then when the band is ready to start, I can unmute mute 2, go to my view group 1, and I'm ready to mix the band. They're ready to play. Hope this made some sense. So there's a quick, typical show setup. Thanks for watching.